Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Shauna from Created and Made, and today I'm going to show you guys how I transformed this old, rumpled, leftover, cheap table covering from the Dollar Tree and this similarly old and used food tray, and I turned them into these beautiful, ready-to-use, super colorful mixed media style tags that can be popped in a journal or attached to a gift. So you can check out how I did this, and hopefully you'll be inspired. Fun stuff ahead. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's jump right in. This is a food tray from the Dollar Tree. Now, you might use this at Thanksgiving, like macaroni and cheese or something like that. But I had it left over from my son's birthday parties. And really, I'm going to be honest, I don't think I put food in here. I think I was carrying other things around in it, but I've owned several of these that I've used for making food, and as long as you clean it, you can use it for the purposes I'm going to show you today. You know, use it as far as you're comfortable using it. If it's had food in it, right? If the food is super duper gross, then you might not be able to pull it off, but I feel like these can be sort of cleaned up pretty well. Now, as you see, I cut the edges off, and I cut the body of the pan of the tray into roughly 4 by 6 inch rectangular sized pieces. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my Sizzix, my Sizzix Big Shot, and do some embossing on these pieces of food tray. Now, it's pretty soft, sort of, I don't know if it's aluminum, but it's a soft metal type material, obviously. And although it has its own texture in it and sort of a pattern that's already in it, it took this embossing really well. I peeled the sticker off the back. It came off pretty easily. And as you can see, I didn't press down too hard. I made a pretty sort of standard sandwich with my Big Shot. And I was able to get some really great transfer using the embossing folders. Now, these are 3D texture fades. I think I used non 3D ones perhaps later on in the video, but these are the Tim Holtz Sizzix texture fades, and they give you some really great ingrained texture. Now, I actually think these are the non-texture fade ones, and it didn't really matter that they were texture fade or non-texture fade. These pieces of food tray really took the embossing very well. As you can see, it really transferred well on the front and the back. So what I'm going to do, this is so quick, so easy. I'm literally just scribbling on this embossed tag, and these are alcohol based markers. I think these are my Ohuhu markers. Yeah, it says right there on the marker, Ohuhu. It's a very affordable alcohol based marker brand. Well, they sell other stuff too, but they have really great markers. And I picked 3 colors in the cool blue family, and I literally am just scribbling across the top of this tag, and I'm catching all of the sort of raised parts of it, and look at that result. I mean, I'm going to put this on top of some double-sided tape. Actually, I'm putting double-sided tape on top of a Dino Wakley tag, and I am going to stick this food tray tag down on top of this paper tag just to give it sort of a little more rigidity and just to give it a base, really. And I'm trimming it down here, and I'm going to punch a hole in it, and it's going to be done. I mean, look how easy that was, and it really is an impactful sort of print, and super fast, super easy. And this is the next one that I did with some non 3D texture fade embossing folders, and I'm just gonna go in and do some coloring on top of this really quick and easy style with those same Ohuhu alcohol based markers. Now this one has a little bit more of a background that I'm actually, trying to stay in the lines. I'm not just super scribbling, but it's still not very complicated, right? Like I'm just coloring in the background spaces I'm going to use these same three shades of blue and green and just fill in the background as you can see here. And that's all I'm going to do with this one. I'm just going to fill in the background and leave it be. And I think it ends up really good looking tag. Now, this is obviously silver, reflective. It has a sort of foil feel to it once you're done with it. As you can see, it reflects light very well. And on to the next one. Now this one I just scribbled again. I really just took my marker, the brush tip, and I'm just rubbing it across the top of the embossed side. And this alcohol based marker transfers pretty well onto surfaces like this aluminum because it's made for non-porous surfaces, and that's what we have here. Now this is the 3D Texture Fade numbered embossing folder from Tim Holtz, and it has all these great numbers on it, and I'm just going through and randomly coloring a number with one of those three markers that I've been using, and that's it. Like that's all I'm going to do, and this is all I did for all of these tags. Is basically the same thing, right? Like I went and I tied a ribbon on them as well to make them look all pretty. I ended up changing out the color of the ribbon, but I'll show you that later. And that's that for the food tray. Like obviously you can use whatever embossing folders you have and whatever markers you have and really come up with your own set that is beautiful and gorgeous. So this next one I'm going to show you. This tablecloth thing was such a pain, right? It's very sort of loud and cheap and reflective. And when I was done with it at the party, I was like, what am I going to do with this? Like, it's huge. So I thought maybe I could figure out a project to do with it, but I wasn't sure. So this is what I came up with. These are full sheets of sticker paper that I don't intend to use this color, but I had it, and so I just am sticking it down on top of this table covering because it's kind of flimsy and thin. It's hard to work with, so I'm using this sticker paper to give it sort of a base, to give it not rigidity because it's not rigid, but just something to work on top of. And then I'm going to trim it down because without this sticker paper on the back, it really is sort of too fluffy and airy to work with very easily. So I'm just trimming it down now, and I don't know if you saw on the back what it looked like. It has wrinkles there it is there. It has some wrinkles, it has some texture. I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. Actually, I think it looks pretty cool, and it's kind of hard to stick it down to the sticker paper without all of those wrinkles. I mean, you can try, but I didn't have any luck. And so I decided to embrace the wrinkles. And now I've cut them in half. These are roughly 8.5 by 11 inch pieces that I've trimmed in half. And now I'm just coloring the whole half of the board with my alcohol markers, and then you could also use actual alcohol ink to cover these boards as well. And this is Ranger alcohol ink on my little blending tool, and it's real easy to apply it using the blending tool. You saw how fast that happened. Just put a little bit on the foam or the whatever that is. I don't think it's foam, but you can just cover the whole surface super quick. So I'm doing these all in sort of like shades, not shades, but like rainbow colors. Now you saw me do blue, and this is purple. I had the rest of the rainbow prepared off camera. So now what I'm going to do is I have this handheld cool fan. I'm spraying the surface with alcohol and then trying to dry it really quickly to control the blooming of the alcohol as it interacts with the alcohol ink, right? And so as you can see, I am able to get some really controlled splotches when I use that technique. Now that cool fan is a really great thing to use when you're working on top of surfaces like this, where I'm not quite sure what this is made of, this silver table covering material, and it's sort of plasticky, so I'm not sure. So I don't want to be heating things like that when I'm not positive what it is, because it could melt, it could release fumes, it could be a little bit dangerous. So here are my 6 tags, and they really came out very vibrant and very beautiful. And this table covering material, there's a ton of it, so you can make so many different things using that old tablecloth. So this thing is a cake board, and I actually didn't show this in the intro because I had already used it. But I had it for the birthday party, but I did end up using it, but I cleaned it up a little bit before recording. Now this is some really super thick cardboard sort of material that it has this silver metallic reflective finish over the top of it. I cut it up, as you can see, into a bunch of different pieces. I think these are 3 1/4 by 6, I think is what I ended up with, and I'm just going over them with my Ohuhu alcohol based markers. And as you can see, look how shiny and beautiful that is. This particular surface took marker really, really well, and I was able to get some beautiful results. Now this is a very thick cake board, like it's a lot thicker than anything else that I was embossing during the course of this video, and this was really hard. I actually should have come up with a different shim situation or a different sandwich for this particular tag, because it was just too thick and I could have broken my big shot. I would have been so sad. But as you can see, it turned out really well. It embossed very beautifully, but I had to come up with something different because it was just too thick of a material. But as you can see there, the different shim that I use, which is just a piece of chipboard instead of the top layer of the sandwich, worked well. It worked good enough, right? So I was able to get a great embossed image on the top of this cake board, and these are the 4 that I came up with. And there's one that I am going to show at the end that I did off camera, that I actually used some sandpaper on, because this particular material will sand up pretty well. So you can add distressing, you can add texture, you can sand off this color and just give yourself a more mottled, uneven look, if that's, if you're into that, and it will work. So you can also try that to sort of switch it up. Now I'm putting some holes in these tags so that they can be tags, and this is a very thick material, so it was pretty hard to get those holes in there, but there they are. Now I'm going to show you guys how I made all my tags kind of pretty by zhuzhing them up with some ribbon. Now this is I have a link below to where I got this. They sell this all over the place though. I got this ribbon on Amazon. They call it chiffon. I'm not really sure if it's actually chiffon, but it has these frayed edges that are really beautiful when you're trying to pretty up some tags. Now I am using opaque acrylic paint because I want my colors to be bright and vibrant on these ribbons. Now you can do this with sprays, but I found that sprays sort of dry down, and so it becomes a little bit dull. If you want to keep your colors bright and vibrant, acrylic paint works really well for this. Just be careful not to roll up your ribbon into your brayer, as I've done repeatedly, but it rolls out pretty easily. So now the only thing with this is once it's dry, it becomes a little bit stiff, so it's hard to sort of refray the edges of the ribbon, which is what I'm trying to do here. But eventually it will come apart if you pull hard enough. And the stiffness doesn't really bother me. I mean, the ribbon can be sort of manipulated and can hold whatever shape you want to put it in. But mainly, I just love the colors that I'm able to get using acrylic paints. Now, I can coordinate the ribbon to the tag very easily in that way. Finally, I'm going to show you guys a usage example of how I would use these particular tags. Now, this is my scripture journal, the book of Matthew. This is not a journal that I use to make YouTube videos. It's just my own personal scripture journal. I use it for study. I use it for memorization tools. And what I'll do is I'll create some sort of art and in it, and then I'll add a tag usually. Now, as you just saw, this page here has a top cut, so the tag will slide up through the top and slide down, and then that tag had a side cut, so it slides sort of left to right. But I have various different ways in which I will use tags in this particular journal. Now, because I use this for studying and for memorizing or just writing repetition of scripture, I need writing surfaces. And here's another pocket I was just showing, another pocket that you can slide a tag into. And see, there is what I was demonstrating there is when you have a tag that doesn't have a great writing surface on the back, you can sort of attach a paper to it and write on that paper and sort of have it flip open or flip out or what have you. It's easier to sort of make it do what you want it to do. So that's just an example of how I use tags like this. And this is a recap of all the lovely tags that we made using this old would-be trash left over from my kids' birthday parties. Now, you saw me make most of these on camera. Some of them you did not, like that one there. I know off the top of my head. But you guys, especially that silver tablecloth looking thing, there's so much left of that material that you can keep going and going and going making these tags in, and it's really kind of a beautiful way to recycle things that were part of a lovely memory like my kid's birthday party. So I love how these came out. I hope you guys did too. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you got some creative juices flowing. And if you did, please go ahead and leave a like. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I hope to see you guys next time. And in the meantime, keep creating and making. Bye-bye.